It's no secret that some of the nation's biggest corporations pay little or no income tax. According to the taxpayer advocacy group Citizens for Tax Justice, the U.S. Treasury loses about $55 billion a year in corporate tax revenue. 17 major corporations in California paid no income tax between 2008 and 2010. San Diego corporate offices included on that list are Computer Sciences Corporation, Conway, Ryder System, Verizon, Wells Fargo, and Honeywell. A statewide coalition called Refund California wants to let consumers know which companies are not paying their fair share in taxes. Here to talk about corporate tax law and the bill headed to the Senate is David Lagstein of San Diego's Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, and with a specialty in taxation is Associate Professor of Accounting at SDSU College of Business, Steven Gill. Thank you both for being here. David, why did you choose the rally this morning at Sempra to highlight this issue?
A lot of homeowners, community activists, union members went to Sempra today because they were puzzled and outraged. They made a $1.1 billion profit last year, and yet in 2010 they didn't pay any state taxes if you add up their 50 states across the country, what they paid in taxes. And I think the idea is we actually want to know how much they paid in taxes, what corporate tax loopholes that they benefited from, because the impact on our state budget is so devastating. I
want to take a quick moment to say that we asked Sempra for a comment on this, but they were unable to respond to us in time by our deadline. So this leaves me to ask you, Stephen, do tax laws favor corporations like Sempra?
Well, I don't know whether they favor corporations. The tax law is a function of what the legislatures decide to write, and favoritism would be relative to some other standard. I think that we've seen, since the economy's gone down, a relatively pro-growth, business-oriented tax code that's trying to stimulate the economy. Of course, that comes at a cost.
Does, David, give us the cliff notes of the version of this tax transparency bill that's headed to the Senate, AB 2439.
The tax transparency bill is very simple. They are not required. Corporations are not required, and these are, major publicly shared corporations, not mom and pop stores. They're required to disclose the amount of state taxes that they pay to give legislators and the public the information they need to make fair tax policy.
Earlier, you said that you realized that Sempra hadn't paid their taxes. If they hadn't paid them and there's no documentation of it, how do you know whether they pay what they've paid or what they haven't paid?
It's confusing, and I bet the professor can explain. But there is the bottom line is there is some aggregate data available based on what they've reported among all 50 states. And in 2010, that aggregate report says that they paid $0 in taxes. What we don't know is specifically how much they paid in California, and even that figure, it's a calculation by professors, and it's not a real number that we could wrap our heads around, so we could make good policy as to passing a revenue budget that impacts the community in the way that we need.
Stephen, even if we did have all of those numbers, how can corporations that make millions or billions of dollars pay little or no taxes? Is there a tax loophole?
Well, loopholes are a pejorative statement, I would say. I think that tax expenditures are the language we use in tax policy.
I prefer giveaways, but it's okay.
And the code is built with some opportunities for business. Clearly, one is foreign profits. That's been a point of contention with policymakers for some time. Things like credits for research and development, things like accelerated deductions for investments in capital. So there are opportunities for corporations to, in fact, lower their effective tax rate. What you would find typically over the long run, however, is that barring the foreign earnings being left offshore, the amount of taxes that a corporation pays start to approach what we would expect them to pay from their statutory rate perspective anyway.
So saying there's no loopholes, David, first I'll ask you, and then you, Stephen. Let's say the Senate bill goes through and consumers know what everybody's paying or not paying. What do we do about it?
It's really hard to make good tax policy, and part of it is because the power of the lobbyists. The corporations spend a lot of money on campaign contributions and lobbyists to try and write tax code that's going to benefit them. And we think more information and more transparency will put corporations in a place where they'll need to choose between their campaign donors and creating a budget that's going to positively impact the community.
Stephen, very briefly, would it be just easier to change the tax laws for corporations?
It would. I'm not sure what disclosure to the public does to inform the tax legislators that frankly already have access to this data if they so choose to collect it. I think more of what happens is we develop a list and it starts to feel like a witch hunt. Whether it's intended to or not, how many innocent corporations do we sweep in?
All right, Stephen and David, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.